So I was thinking about this, and for once, it wasn't about my gaslight going on, but that might be an issue in about another 10 kilometers or so. I'm just not trying to think about that right now, but what I'm thinking about is the future and how the future can be affected by the present and my past, and how that kind of stress relates to relationships and how it works out. I know sometimes I do these things. It's like, in a relationship, you really gotta state and you really gotta communicate what you want and what your idealistic in this idea, what I expect to be reality is not really able to become reality. I'll explain that in a second. The point is, you should be able to communicate. This is what your idea of a perfect family is to the person you're interested in, and they should be able to hear you out. And if they can't see something matching with that, then you know what, it doesn't work out, because communication really is key. And when it comes down to it, like, my ideal family is like back in the day, back like 40s, 50s, where a man's paycheck could like literally supply the whole house and then still give the woman whatever she needs and still treat her, and she's the queen and she gets the paycheck. Like, I grew up in a household where my dad did the most, but then my mom would help out and whenever she needed to, and when my mom couldn't, my dad still did. And like the 40s, 50s, 60s, even the 70s show, like, that's a perfect example of like, the mother's supposed to be loving. The mother's not supposed to have any stress on her head except for taking care of the kids. And the kids shouldn't be fearing the mother. They should actually go to the mother for like comfort, for love. Because it's the father's job to be the hard ass in the family. To make sure that they fear them, and then the mother just has to say, I'm calling your father. That should be enough. The mother should not be stressing because she has so much more to do. The whole point is the father is the one that actually gets them to be actually straight lined, disciplined, and all that stuff, teaches them stuff. It's the whole point of, you fear your father, but the attention you get from your father, the time you spend with your father is more, it means more, because you have that back and forth. But whenever your father has to put you in your place, you run to your mother for love. Your mother shouldn't be after playing both roles. It just doesn't make sense. When the only way the mother can do that is if she doesn't have stress. So the husband's job is to make sure the wife's not is stress free. But that's back then. That's that reality back then. And nowadays it's completely different. Nowadays, you can't really expect that because there's so many different stresses and there's so many things that are involved in everyday life that weren't involved back then. Back then, you had time to go to the store. Nowadays, life's so busy, you don't really have anything. Order everything in. What are you walking for? People push through like the smallest things and let everything build up to the point where it just stresses them. So communication really is key. And like, it's just showing people. And if you're really interested in someone, you really gotta understand what the love language is and how it works out. And I don't really know what my wife's love language is gonna be. I gotta learn it, but it should be a simple concept of like, even if we're in the worst situation, as long as like, not in the worst situation, as long as we're like, even if we're fighting and we're in a problem or whatnot, as long as you show me this, I know we're gonna be okay. Like, I'll give you an example of me. For me, if no matter what happens, if my wife gets up every morning and just makes me a simple breakfast, it doesn't have to be something special. It just shows me something that no matter what, how much we fight or whatever, she cares enough to make sure that, I have something to eat. And because I know I'm gonna be a complete idiot and bug the shit out of her, I know I'm gonna get some rude ass messages in there. I wanna open it up like, I hope you trip in the ditch and die, but make it home safe. Some shit like that, because it's gonna be ridiculous. It's just something simple like that. It doesn't matter how much stress I go through my day. Whatever we argued about, or whatever we argued about last night, in the morning, I know you cared enough to get up and make sure that I have food, and you didn't poison me because I got home. So also, I made someone at work taste it too. But like, Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of dumb shit. It's the simple things that really reassure people. And at the same time, it's just the entire time all I can think about will be coming home, talking to you, making things better, because my anger goes away because you took that extra effort. And there's always people not taking the extra effort. So it's just understanding what people need in their life and don't disrespect them in that their weakest moment. If you know someone's going through something emotional, just they might need a moment. And at the same time, the thought of coming home to my wife and feeding her food with my hands and just be like, all right, I don't want to argue no more, because you literally, it just takes nothing for me to stop being angry. Like, if you feed me, what are you arguing about? Like, what are you talking about? And at the same time, we should really get used to like feeding each other like with our hands, because like I'm guaranteeing you this with the way my mindset goes, and I'm just telling you, we both are crazy. Because like I'm telling you, if you listen to this entire thing, you're crazy too. Because like my trips to just going to like the grocery store never end up being trips to a grocery store. So I'm just saying, if you're a nurse, or if you're not a nurse, being a nurse might be helpful, because the ventures we're gonna get into, it's gonna be you and me versus the world, because we gotta protect our kids and whatnot, right? And we're never gonna leave them, and we're never gonna leave each other. But the world might get to us, or we might have an adventure time. It's just, I'm saying we should get used to taking care of each other and feeding each other, and like making sure that we're taking baths together and cleaning each other. Get used to those things, because like if at any point one of us needs to take care of each other, we're already used to it, because like we already do it out of love. Because yo, this world's fucked up, and so is my mind. So I'm just saying, we gotta understand love languages and understand. I'm fucking psychotic, and you might be too if you think that this might work out. And I love that about you. Stay strong. I'll try to stop working. The devil's winning. Not really. Not today, devil.